welcome to this event where we are sharing the best practices, but we are sharing the best practices and we are organizing this also because we are launching something new construct, virtual construct, which we are proposing putting on the table for the use of the Commission, but also international organizations and eventually different member states. So let me first welcome our speakers and guests. First of all, Director General of Eurostat, Walter Rademacher, on my right. On my left, Deputy Secretary General Jean-Éric Paquet, responsible for better regulation. So we hope very much that this competence on indicators will be of use for better regulation. I would also like to welcome Patricia Reilly. Patricia is envoy of our Commissioner. She's working with the Commissioner. She's member of the Cabinet. And let me also welcome very special guest. He's not usually participating at events of JRC, but he is extremely important for JRC, and that's the President of the Board of Governors of JRC, and it's Walter Mönig, who is sitting behind this nameplate of Deutschland. He found his own country very well, so welcome, Walter. You know that Joint Research Centre is a specific organization having the Board of Governors, which is composed of representatives of member states. So then, welcome, Walter. We had a meeting yesterday of the board, so then Walter stayed one day more. In my introduction, usually we are talking about why, what, and how. So I will concentrate on why, and I have Sven and Michaela just in front of me, and they will be dealing with what and how later. But let me say a few words about why. And I would like to put it into the overall worldwide context. And this context is obviously about the data, information, and knowledge. And we know all very well that in all these three aspects of, let's say, the same, there is a huge explosion which we are witnessing in the past 1-2 decades. I recently read statistics, and this is I'm not sure if this is a correct statistics. It was not verified by my colleagues from Econometrics and Applied Statistics Unit, but this estimate is saying that right now we have 90% of living scientists, which represents 90% of all scientists who ever lived on the earth. What this is, maybe it's not true, but it's just an illustration that we have enormous, unprecedented number of knowledge producers, which we called and which we put in the box of scientists or researchers. We have 3,000, only in Europe, we have 3,000 higher education establishments. We have hundreds of institutes. So this is a knowledge production which is really impressive. And on the top of it, we have, in the past few years, we see the emerging layer of newcomers, very unusual producers of the scientific knowledge. And that's industry, and that's also citizens. So we have unprecedented explosion of citizens' initiatives. So all in all, this means that we are facing tsunami of data, information, and knowledge. So when in this ocean of knowledge, what we need to do, we need to start managing the knowledge. We need to start making sense of the knowledge. We need to start to make the knowledge more reliable, authoritative, because in all this ocean of knowledge, we can be very picky and we can select all what is good for us, but we are not, or for our purpose, our policy in this case, but we are not sure whether this is a correct knowledge, how this knowledge was produced. There is no seal of the quality on this knowledge. So we can really get lost very, very quickly. And also what is dangerous for, I would say, traditional players in this field, that these traditional players doing very thorough and very high quality work, they will become obsolete because they are not managing the knowledge, they are not looking at the knowledge which is produced outside. So this is extremely important layer which all responsible organizations based on the knowledge production should develop, and that's the management and verification of the knowledge produced elsewhere. And we in JRC would like to be responsible organization. We wouldn't like to become obsolete in the following few years. So then we decided to develop this specific layer of managing the knowledge, verification of the knowledge, but also pooling together the competencies which are underpinning knowledge or verifying knowledge. So then, and here we are today at our second launching event on the Competence Centre on Composite Indicators and Scoreboards. We started last year with the first Knowledge Centre, and I will tell you in a minute how we see the difference between these two. And the Knowledge Centre is on disaster risk management. We are working on the two other knowledge centres, and one is on migration and demography, and the second is on territorial policies. That's why there are two reasons why Walter Defa and Nicholas Martin were invited to join us. And unfortunately, Walter Defa had to leave on a mission, and Nicholas got ill yesterday, so he couldn't come. There is double reason for this. There is a reason that Walter Defa was chair of a group of directors general, and with Walter we have been a part of this group last year because the Commission decided that we need to reflect on data, information and knowledge and what should be done. So then this group came with several recommendations. And one of the recommendations was to do these pilots by Joint Research Centre. So that was one reason why we wanted to have Walter with us, because this is actually implementation of the recommendations of his group. And the second reason was that we are working together very hard with colleagues from DG Regio on this knowledge centre on territorial development. So then let's come to the knowledge centres and competence centre. Knowledge centres are policy-driven, political priority-driven, thematic groupings of best available knowledge in this field. So then I mentioned that we launched last September Knowledge Centre on Disaster Risk Management. That was needed. It's enormous loss globally we have in this respect, and if we don't apply the best knowledge available, so we are unable to proceed in this respect. So this Knowledge Centre, as a construct of the European Commission, was 2 weeks ago recognized in Geneva internationally as the international tool and as the contribution of European Union to the global disaster risk reduction. So it was quite an important recognition by the UN. And today here we are with something what we all like, because I mentioned this tsunami of information, data and knowledge we have, and we need to somehow visualize it, we need to somehow simplify it. And obviously indicators and even composite indicators or scoreboards are very good to visualize, to simplify, to follow quite a large sets of data. But there is one condition, that it is correctly done. Because if it is not correctly done, and we have some good examples of not correctly done indicators or composite indicators, then we are running into the difficulties, and all our policies and all our aims could run into serious difficulties. So then all in all, this is the answer to why. we have in JRC one of the best groups worldwide in this field. So then we decided to make it more visible. We decided to strengthen it in the following years, and make it, first of all, available for cooperation with other services of the Commission. But gradually, we have very good cooperation with OECD, but gradually we can provide this service also to international organizations and member states. So that's the reason. That's a few words of introduction, and let me now